What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be implementing the ability to interact with variables inside of the inspector. So when we left off, all we were doing was just drawing the variable names. That's all it was doing. There's no clipping. I don't think I put, I don't believe I put any clipping in, but it will clip off somewhere over here, I believe. Whenever we're done with this, we can adjust how far this clipping is. It doesn't have to be exactly what I put down, but just put down a number that you feel comfortable with. So to get started, let's go ahead and go into the GUI class, and we will go ahead and create a function in here that will let us interact with string variables. And for now, we're going to be using tinyfd to interact with variables. So it's basically almost just going to be a button. So then when we click on it, it's going to bring up a tinyfd window to change the text. The reason why we're doing this is because a text field is actually going to be like a 3, 4, possibly even 5 episode thing, because it's going to be massive. So to shorten that, for now we're just going to be using a workaround. Everything will still be fully functional. We'll just have an extra pop-up window whenever we click on it. And so it'll work exactly the same. We'll just have to add on to the text field code later. All right, so let's create public static string, because we'll be returning a string, and text field. What we're going to need for this is a rectangle. We're going to need the name of the variable, and we're going to need the string value of that variable. So v. All right, and in here it's going to be pretty simple. Like I just said, we need to we need to begin an area. That way we're going to have clipping. I'll just create a new rect. And this is going to be at r.x, r.y. And this is where I say how far you want that clipping to be. And for me, I think I am going to, later on whenever we get to it, make the inspector window, because we're going to be able to drag it to the left later on in this series. So I'm going to make the minimum size of that inspector window to be 400. So I'm going to be using 200. So I'll just cut it off halfway if it's completely minimized. So then if you drag it over to make the inspector bigger, say 600 or whatever, then it'll still get cut off at 200, and the variable box or whatever, the text field itself, will just expand and get wider. So I will set that to 200. Actually, you know what? I don't think I really... No, I'll try 100 for now, and then if I need to make it bigger, I'll just do that. So we'll just test it out first. All right, so that will begin our area. And then right here, we need to draw the label. So we'll say the name of the variable, and we will draw this at 0, 0. So since we're creating this area at r.x, 0 will automatically be the top left. And then all we're going to do is we're going to end the area. And that will add clipping to that variable name. Next is we will create a button that we can press. So this is, I will just add a comment right here for to do. We'll say this is temporary, will change in later episodes. So we'll do if button yes, v new rect, and we're going to go r.x plus whatever this value is right here, because we want it to start wherever the clipping for the label ended. So in my case, this will be 100. And we're just going to do r.y for wherever the y is going to sit. And for the width, it's going to be r.width minus, once again, this number right here. And I'm just iterating that because, you know, if you go through and change it and you're like, I don't like 100, I want it 200. You're going to have to change it here, here, and here. Or if you want, you can just create a variable up here, replace these 100 with that variable, and all you have to do is change it in that one spot. But for me, I don't really care, because once this is coded, it's going to stay the same, so I'm not going to create an extra variable. And for the height, it is just going to be r.height. Let's see here. And I need to pass in box for now. I don't know why I just did that. Okay. So then I have a button just using the box style. And in this box, I'm going to say string s equals tinyfd. I believe it's this InputBox. And I'm going to say changing space plus name of the variable plus exclamation mark. And this is what's going to say at the top of the InputBox window, or pop-up. So it's just going to be saying like the variable name is something. It's going to say changing something, exclamation mark. Right here, I'm going to say, what would you like this string to be? And question mark. And then we are going to pass in v, which is the value. And I'm going to have to import that, and I will wait just a minute because I'm going to have to come over here because I don't remember exactly, or no, I'll just go ahead and open it up and debug. I need that. I'll just copy that for now. All right. And then right here, I'm going to say if s does not equal null, so saying that we didn't click the cancel button and we didn't hit the X button, then I want to return s dot replace all. I'm going to escape out n. And then I'm going to replace it with an empty string. And then replace all. Escape out r. And empty string. And dot replace all. Escape out t. And replace it with an empty. So basically this will make it so that we cannot, so it will not accept returns and tabs. It's because of the way that, I don't know, it might accept a tab. I'm not sure. I mean, thinking about it right now, it possibly might. I mean, it accepts spaces. I don't remember how I programmed it earlier in this tutorial series. But this makes sure that we don't have any returns because we don't have a character for return, so we need to replace it. So that's all that's going to do. So if the input box does not equal null, then return whatever we typed in that input box without returns or tabs. And if I did not click on the button, of course, I just want to return S. Or no, sorry, return V, because well, S has not been created yet. All right, so now we need to do the import up here. And it's org.lightweightjavagamelibrary.util.tinyfd.tinyfiledialogs tinyfd input box. And that gets rid of that error. Now, in the inspector, or actually in the behavior attributes, what we're going to do to make this a little bit easier is this value right here, we're saying each field is 18. Well, some of our variables are going to be, they're going to be bigger than the amount of space that we're allotting, which is 18. For instance, if we have a rectangle variable, it's going to have 4 different input boxes. Well, so we're just going to put 2 on one line and then 2 on the line below it. So it's actually going to be 36, not 18. So instead of doing the calculations right here, inside of behavior attributes, I'm going to put public integer height. So that way it's actually stored inside of the behavior attributes. And let's see here. What else do I need to put in here? Okay. I'll just, for right now, until we get the rectangle class set up, I'm just going to say height plus equals 18. 18. So that way, whenever I'm looping through the variables, it's just going to add to this height. Yeah, so pretty simple. And then later I'm going to check this split name, and I'm going to see what it is, whether it's a rectangle or a vector4 or vector2 or whatever, so I know how many input boxes and where to put them and blah, 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 blah. So it's basically just going to calculate this height for me. So that's pretty simple. All right, so we're done with that. So right here, we are going to just make it a little bit easier for us. So all it's going to be is float h equals att dot height, and then plus this crap. And then, so we're basically just replacing this and just putting the height. Yeah. So that's all that's doing. All right, and that's it for that. That stores our height in there. So now whenever we do our whatever, this right here, sliders and crap, that will be there for us as well. All right. Next thing is the inspector right here. All right. So this is our last bit. Split name. All right. So it's going to be if split one dot equals string. So if it's a string variable, going to do try. Field s equals, I haven't made that variable yet. We also need a variable up here. So we're going to say behavior attributes BA, just to make it simple, equals I have a variable for that, right? Yeah, A dot get I. And that should get, yeah, that should get the current one. I'm going to say field s equals ba dot c dot get declared field. We're going to pass in split 0. And this is going to get the declared field. Oh, I didn't make it capital. And that will get the declared field for that variable. And we're probably going to cache this somewhere else so that we're not getting it every frame, but I don't know. We'll figure that out and another episode. So for now it'll work. It's not really doing any damage. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to go string P, I guess. S.get ba.behavior and then .toString. Yes. Why isn't that doing it? Why aren't you liking that? Oh, because I don't have a finally statement. Well, let's add some catches real quick. This is really annoying. This is going to be catch. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. Oh, fuck. I didn't do it. Alright, whatever. Screw you. String v equals GUI dot text field. I'm going to place this at new rect 0. That's what it is. Yes, F. F times 18, I guess. I'll have to figure out how to cache that later, so I'm not constantly putting in all these 18s. R.width and 18. And the name is going to be split 0, and the value will be P. And the reason why I put all these just single letters like this, I mean, it gets kind of hard to keep track of, you know, which letters go with what, but it makes it so the code is actually ran faster. The variable names aren't as long. It's not holding as much data to store that string, and that's why I do that. Just in case you're wondering why I don't put like behavior name or whatever variable name, because it's just, I don't know, I'm used to data whatever, trying not to have too much data going on. So if P, or if not P dot equals V, so basically if we have not changed this this text field, if the text field has not changed at all, then I just want to skip this part. If it has, then I want to call s.setBA.behavior and V. And that's it for that, besides the catch statements. So we're going to say catch, I believe it's illegal argument exception E, and it's E dot print StackTrace. And I believe it's a multi-catch. Say catch illegal access exception E, and then once again E dot print stack trace. Illegal access. Oh, there we go. So that gets rid of this up here. But then once again, this try statement also needs a catch. No, what is it? No such field exception E. And then once again, E dot print stack trace. And this can be a multi as well. So we go catch security exception E, and then again E dot print stack trace. And that gets rid of all that. It would have been easier if I would have just not put the TryCatch, but I'm so used to doing it myself. But you can also, if you put it up here, it will ask you to do a TryCatch statement right there. So after this, I believe it's right here. Going to say else GUI dot text field new rect 0 f times 18 r dot width 18. So basically what we did above. And as for the name, we will say split 0 as before, but for the value we will just keep it like this. Text color, why did it do that? Text field. So that way we're not just drawing a label. Now it will not be able to be interacted with, but so if, say, you put a float field or whatever there, or just about any variable, it's going to have a text field, but you're not going to be able to interact with it. You'll only be able to interact with it if it's a string. In the next episode, we will be doing float values. So you can watch out for that. And I believe that is it. Let's see here. Click on this. Yes, here we go. That's a little close, but for right now that will be perfectly fine. If I click on that, yes, and here it is. We'll say changing some value because we clicked on the box for some value. If I change this to, I don't know, hungry, there it is. Now it will draw inside of there. If I click on it again, steady, boom. Click on it again, exit out, nothing. Cancel, nothing. All right. So there you have it. If I click on that, if I change it, it won't do anything. Awesome. So there we go. Thank you for watching the episode. And I will see you next week where we work on float, or being able to change float values. All right. Have a good week.